Why, hello. Recently, I looked at some a book by Milo Manara, Caravaggio, that was a biography of the artist Caravaggio, and I liked it. And it just reminded me that I hadn't read much Milo Manara in a long time, and I wanted to read more. So I found this series of Le Opere in the original Italian, and I'm like, I need to work on my Italian. Let's check them out. So I went back to volume one and started. I think this is not by any means a comprehensive, complete collection of everything Manara has done, because I think he did a lot of work before any of this that he just doesn't have the right to reprint. That he was working for publishers, and this is kind of the beginning of his works that I think he still owns the copyright to. I don't know the exact details. Anyways, I don't even know if this is chronological, but I started with this one, which reprints two or three stories. Viaggio at Voyage, I think the English is Trip to Tulum, and Il Viaggio di G. Mastorna detto Fernet. I don't know who that is, but um, both of these are in collaboration, I believe, with Federico Fellini. And it also kind of reminded me that I've seen some Fellini, but I'd like to go back and check them out now and forcing myself to just watch them with Italian subtitles rather than English subtitles. So the cool thing about these volumes that I don't know if they're available in English or how Minar has been available in English, but they have some essays at the beginning. They have a lot of sketches, a lot of background material, and just a lot of stuff. I don't know if this is Manara. No, I think it's Fellini. I could be wrong about that. I don't really know them well enough what they look like in person, but there's some indications of Carlos Castaneda about him because both of these, or I think one of these works, is pretty heavily influenced by Carlos Castaneda, who they were kind of getting into in the 70s, because Castaneda was pretty popular as a writer, and his influence on kind of magic ideas and magical realism of things like that you also see in comics like Mobius and what's his name, Jodorowsky. Am I saying his name right? Those kind of artists. It's very different from anything that was coming out in America at the time that I can think of. Yeah, I can't think of anything like this. Europe, this the European sense of, I think when people think of international directors like Godard and Fellini, there's like a sense of dreaminess that a lot of Americans just can't tolerate, but I enjoy, and at its best, it's pretty amazing. So let's get to the actual work. I think the intent of these books is to reprint them as they're originally were done. So these were originally, I think, in black and white. I assume they're done that way. I don't know where they were first printed, but as you can see, the art right away is just beautiful, typical Manara, just incredible looking art, beautiful line work, beautiful women, and this story is, I don't know how much Fellini. I think this was supposed to be a movie that Fellini was going to do, but it never happened. So somehow it got into Manara's hand. They kind of knew each other, and I don't know how much though Fellini actually did the writing, or if it's just like a conception that he handed off to Manara, who is more able in the world of comics. But I mean, look at the detail in this art. Incredible artwork as always. And this is kind of what I remembered as I read Caravaggio. That other book was that Manara is famous for drawing beautiful women, but he's also just really good at drawing anything. And architecture, nature is just incredible. I think maybe this guy right here is Manara, and this guy is Fellini. I think, I don't know. The story is very loose and vague about what's happening and where it's going, and it's confusing if you like standard plot and clarity to know exactly what's going on. But if you can kind of relax that and just enjoy the flow of what's happening, I think it's pretty cool, and I like it. It was very neat. There's many pages in which there's no dialogue, and there's it kind of loops around to this underwater airplane, and I think it says in the notes that it's like about a guy who dies but doesn't realize that he's dead, which I feel like is a story. Isn't that what happens in The Third Policeman, that novel? I don't remember though. It's been a long time. They go to Los Angeles and they really. It's kind of. I like the feel of how a European coming to Los Angeles for the first time is captured, and yeah, that culture of in the 70s and 80s. It lasted into the 80s a little, but like, oh yeah, Mobius shows up in character. They're like at some press conference, and Mobius and who's the other guy? I don't remember. Is it Hugo Pratt? Maybe, I don't know. But they're in Los Angeles, and I mean, just look at this LA skyline shot. It's just so wonderful. I'm sure I'm sure he used a lot of photo references, but still, it's incredible. And there was another shot here. Let's see if oh, this one. I mean, just look at the architecture on this. Absolutely amazing. Now this, I don't think he used a photo reference because I don't think this is an actual building. So it's just, it has like this influence of, I think, Toltec or something. And yeah. So full page spreads like this, you just got to pause and admire for a few minutes, or maybe not a few minutes, but a while. And then I think this story is about 40 pages. They end up on this beach, and there's this. I mean, this is so dreamlike, and any excuse for Milo Manara to take a woman's clothes off, he'll do it. Yeah, so I liked. I'd never read Trip to Tulum before. I liked it. It wasn't what I was expecting. I had no idea what it was going to be, and I think Fellini's influence is pretty obvious. It makes me want to watch all of Fellini's movies that I haven't seen and rewatch the ones that I have. So that story ended in a kind of a, incorporates a lot of Carlos Castaneda type things, and ends in a very murky way. And then we get, okay, so this is what I was talking about, all these storyboards that we get. And Manara's storyboards are almost as detailed as an actual, as some other artists that do their artwork. I assume he does these pretty quick, and then he lays down the more detailed line work, but they're very interesting. And then there's this I think it's 4-page story that's kind of a mysterious, also very dreamlike. I don't know if Fellini was involved with this one, but it's just a little story with very Mobius-like sense of dream fantasy. We have some more storyboards, and then the final story, Il Viaggio di G. Mastorna Detto Ferne. And this is again a story I think that Fellini intended to do as a film, but it never happened. Different art style, you'll notice. So this is more like a watercolor look. And I like both seeing Manara's line work, but also this, I assume this is like actually watercolored. It looks very nice. He uses a very subdued dark palette. I was just talking about using dark palettes in my review of Paradise Lost, which is almost too dark. And it was too dark and a little confusing, but I think Manara does it perfectly. It's just like these shades of like brown, and I mean, look at this panel. Such a great, I mean, you can just feel the light. It looks like an actual film. And yeah, so that one ends, and it's a shorter story. I like that one too. In fact, I may have liked that one more just because of the artwork. I do like this. I would say I prefer this, but both are nice. And then we get another storyboard and background. And I think this is again Manara's kind of early storyboards. I think this is Fellini's. Yeah, this is Fellini's. So you can see Fellini is not the artist that Manara is, and that's fine. But he clearly has a visual imagination. I think a lot of directors are capable of thinking in terms of comics because they kind of have to do storyboards and think about that stuff. But Manara's storyboards are almost like finished art sometimes. There's this sequence with Laurel and Hardy. I think there's an actual Laurel and Hardy film. I don't know which one, but neat stuff. So yeah, if you want to really see the background of these stories and see a lot of the as they emerge, I think this format of these opere, les opere, are very nice, and I'm looking forward. I think there's about 21 of them, and I'm pretty sure I'll read them all because they're really great, and I'm looking forward to all these Manara stories that I haven't read throughout his vast career. I think now that Mobius is no longer with us, he's sort of the grandmaster of European comics who's still alive, and he's pretty incredible. He's still working. He's doing this version of The Name of the Rose. Yeah, so looking forward to more Milo Manara in these opere.